I'm not fucking with the lighting here. Like, what the fuck is... What is that? I don't feel like changing, girl. It just looks like... Hold on, let's get some ASMR. Did you like that? What's up, you guys? It's Katie, and welcome back to my channel. For those that are new, hi, hey, welcome. And for those who have been here, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. As you can tell, we're back in my room. We're back in the home base, all right? I am counting down the days until I have an actual book room where all of my books are in one place because they're literally scattered all over, like all over. But we are in a little corner of my room. I apologize. It kind of looks really chaotic. Like, this is the best that we're gonna do. It's the way that my room is set up where, like, this is all that we got right now. But today, we are going to be going over the books that I read in both March and April. However, we are going to do it a little bit different because I have a tendency to be brutally honest, and that ain't gonna change. Okay, we are always going to be brutally honest with my reviews, obviously. I'm always gonna keep it real with y'all, but I always go really hard at critiquing and overanalyzing books. And you know, I think that that's important, that there are discussions like that. However, I've come to realize that sometimes it can come off that I'm just absolutely butchering the author and butchering the book and being a very negative Nancy. So what we are going to do today is that instead of reviewing every single book that I read in March and April, we're just going to be reviewing books that I want to review, and hopefully that's okay with you guys. I will put every single book on the screen for you right now for you guys to see all of the books that I read. I did read 18 books. These are the ones that I'm actually going to be talking about today though. If you happen to want any other book reviews of the ones that I'm not going to talk about today, let me know and I would be glad to make that video for you guys to talk about those. But yeah, without further ado, let's just start talking about books. First up, we have Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. This is his memoir that came out, I don't even know when this came out honestly, but I feel like it was popular a few years ago. For those who don't know who Matthew Perry is, you may know him as Chandler from Friends. I read this via audiobook and I actually really enjoyed this one. I have a tendency to haze celebrity memoirs, but this one was so good, you guys. Like, I think the audiobook was narrated by Matthew Perry, if I remember correctly, but Matthew Perry talks a lot about his rise to fame and the up and coming stardom that Friends ended up bringing him. I don't remember when Matthew Perry passed, actually. I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but he was very vocal about his struggle with addiction, and he talks a lot about addiction in here. I actually admire that. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to read the book. Even though I love Friends as well, I was more wanting to read it because I wanted to hear his point of view about addiction and mental health struggles. I literally loved this so much, and I completely applaud him for his open vulnerability and for speaking about addiction and mental health so openly and just letting it, you can tell that he was basically word vomiting and like dumping out his thoughts without any filter and just being 100% authentic himself. And for that reason, I applaud him so much because the amount of guts that, first of all, the amount of guts that it takes to put out a memoir in general, but him being so vulnerable that you can feel it as you're reading. Whenever a celebrity or an author, I should say, does that, it gets bonus points for me because I'm like, okay, this isn't your cookie cutter celebrity memoir. It's actually them being authentic and actually sharing their story instead of doing some PR thing, you know? The only downside that I have with this book is that there was some misogyny in here where, not some, he was blatantly misogynistic, y'all. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. Yeah. He literally referenced a woman, someone's wife, by the way. Like, this woman is married. He's literally referring someone's wife to being the object of his desire. He didn't say that once. I think he said it twice. He might have said it 3 times. He for sure said it twice. At first I was like, oh, maybe that was probably a poor choice of words. And then he said it again. And I was like, oh no, he meant what he said. He meant what he said. That's unfortunate. But I was like, oh, bruh, why'd you have to do that? As the book kept going, I was like, that's just, he's being completely unfiltered. Like, he's not even thinking about how that could be offensive at all. He's just talking, not that it excuses that at all. Also, he was referring to Jennifer Aniston multiple times, and the way that he was talking about Jennifer Aniston honestly felt kind of creepy. Like, I could feel the like creepiness through the app that I was listening this book from, through Libby. You know, like, as I was listening to this book, I'm just thinking about how uncomfortable Jennifer Aniston Aniston probably was around him, allegedly, you know, like I think they were friends and maybe she didn't find it weird, but I feel like the way that he was talking about her, if I was Jennifer Aniston, I would feel uncomfortable. Let's clarify. I didn't really vibe with the way that he was talking about her. Like, it didn't really come from a source. It didn't really feel respectful. I could totally understand how people would rate this low, or maybe like a 3-star, and say that he was very egotistical and arrogant and what. Like, I totally get that because, yeah, for sure, he definitely comes off that way. However, objectively speaking, ironically, objectively speaking, his writing was so vulnerable and there was so much depth there that I have to applaud him. It really felt like he was being straight up with us and talking to us as if he was one of our buddies. It is unfortunate that he was referencing women that way, though, obviously, but yeah, those are my downsides to the book. Overall, I rated it a 4.75, so I did enjoy it, and I would recommend this book. This actually is a good celebrity memoir, believe it or not. Y'all know how much beef I have with celebrity memoirs half the time, so hopefully that'll tell you something. Next up, we have Wanna Know a Secret by Frida McFadden. I read this from March 17th to March 18th via audiobook. This is an adult mystery thriller. In this one, we have our main character, April, who is a YouTuber, and she is really well known in her small town for having this cooking show. I think it's a baking show specifically, but she's really well known in her small town for having this baking show, and with that comes fame, and with fame comes people who want to bring her down. There's people out there who want to try and derail her career and bring things to light from her past. To give you like more of a vibe, think like PTO mom goes to book club and has a cooking show. Yeah, I would recommend this one. This actually was really fun, and I did not want to stop listening to it because I really needed to know the inside scoop of what was going down with the book club PTO mom drama. I ended up rating this one, I think, a 4-star, like a solid 4-star. I feel like I can't really tell you guys much more because I don't want to spoil anything, so we're gonna leave it there, but I would recommend it, and yeah. There you go. The next book that I want to talk about is Do You Remember by Frida McFadden. This one I read immediately after Wanna Know a Secret. Again, this is an adult mystery thriller, and I read this from March 22nd to March 22nd via audiobook. This one follows our main character Tess as she tries to remember her life because she wakes up one day and she has no clue what's going on. She doesn't know her husband, she doesn't know her nanny, she doesn't know the house that she's living in, I think. All she remembers is her best friend, her dad, and her ex-boyfriend. It's kind of like The Vow. If you've seen The Vow, or I think it's a book too, but if you've seen The Vow by Nicholas Sparks, it's kind of similar to that in a way, where she doesn't remember her current life, she remembers a past version of herself, and she's trying to find the missing piece as to why she no longer has that life and what happened in between. I feel like I cannot elaborate yet again, because it's a mystery thriller, it's a psychological thriller, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I'm pretty sure the book starts out with our main character finding a handwritten note in Sharpie on her inner thigh as she's about to get into the shower, and that's like the first lead that you get of something that might have happened. And yeah, that's all that I'm gonna say, but if you liked The Vow, I think that you'll enjoy this one. I ended up rating this 3.25 stars, so I did enjoy it. I honestly don't remember why I rated it only a 3-star though, rather than a 4. It might have been because it felt very similar to The Vow in a way that it felt a little bit unoriginal, and also I think that some of the twists were quite predictable, but it was still entertaining and still fun to read. But yeah, there were kind of plot holes in this one a little bit. I honestly, LOL, don't really remember because I read this a pretty long time ago now, but I did enjoy it and I would recommend it, and the audiobook was pretty good too. Yeah, 3.25 stars, moving on. Okay, and then the first physical book that I'm going to talk to you guys about, My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. This is a lit fic, and I actually read this from March 5th to March 27th, so it took me a little while. The only reason though is because I was in the middle of other books and I was trying really hard to finish those books, so I kept having to put this one down. It's not at all because this book was bad. Anytime that I would pick it up, I wanted to binge read it, but y'all, I knew I was gonna like this book. I have been putting off reading this for years now. Like, this is like the mother of book talk back in the day. I think that this won Goodreads Choice Awards back in 2018 or something. I honestly don't know when this one was published though. Yeah, I don't know when this one was published, but I've been wanting to read it for years. It's definitely a niche pick. However, I just knew that the niche was for me. This is about our main character. I realized after I read read the book that I don't think our main character has a name. If I happen to find out that she does have a name, I'll put it on the screen for you, but I'm pretty sure she does not have a name. Her best friend has a name though, and her best friend's name is Riva. You're basically following our main character go through an entire year of rest and relaxation. She wants to go completely MIA from the world and almost like rejuvenate and like rebirth herself. Or just have a year where she can heal and have zero disturbances. There are trigger warnings for this book for sure, so just know that before you go into this book. This book talks about mental health and addiction. This honestly talks about a lot of different things, so just look up the trigger warnings before you go into it, but this talks heavily about mental health and addiction specifically. Our main character goes to an under-the-table psychiatrist who will literally prescribe her anything that she asks for. Also, our main character is an orphan. Her parents passed away, so she has no family. She just has her best friend Riva, pretty much. There are so many things that I could talk about with this book, but I don't want to spoil any of it because you have to go into this blindly to get the full effect of oh my god, dude, the end. No, you don't understand. I think it's the last chapter. It's just a page long. First of all, that in and of itself, speechless. But the last sentence, oh my god, I literally got full body chills. I had to read it 12 times after I finished the book. Like, I'm not even I'm being so serious right now. I had to reread it like 12 times, and every single time I kept getting chills, like full body chills too, might I add. Oh my god, literally just thinking about it. No. Oh my god, I just got chills. I literally just got chills. Woo! I just got chills. Anytime I reread that, I get full body chills. Like, hi, baby.
Hi, cutie pie. You hungry? I don't even know what time it is. You're probably hungry, huh? Hello. Hi. Say hello, Mike. Okay.
I wish you could see. You can't. I was dog earing. I was dog earing the crap. Okay, maybe you can see. Hold on. Do you see that? And then this. Nearly every page is dog-eared because I was too lazy to take a picture or to highlight or whatever. So yeah, I know some people don't like dog earing. I don't know why I just randomly got into doing that, but I think it's just because I got too lazy to take a picture. But bro, I'm not literally almost every single page. This book is incredible in so many different ways. When I first started this, I knew I was going to give it a 5-star because it automatically gave me that 5-star feeling. And I also just knew that this was going to be a book for me. It's a very niche book. However, I feel like the ending almost makes it an important book for people to read, even if it's not for you. I just don't know if I would go out of my way to say every single person should read this book, because I think that a majority of the book, you have to be a very niche person to get the vibe and to understand it, I suppose. Like if you know, dabble with addiction or mental health, or literally so many things are talked about in here that I feel like you maybe could relate to at least one thing if you read it. This literally talks about capitalism. It talks about medicine and healthcare in the United States. It talks about friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships, and affairs, infidelity, sex, love, death and dying, addiction, mental health, so many things, bro. But they're so important to talk about. And there was like a heavy underlying tone of her talking about holistic medicine. And there's a lot, honestly, I feel like I should make an entire video of me talking about this book because there's so much to dissect. There are so many hidden things. But for the sake of this video, we're just gonna leave it at that, and I want you guys to go into it blindly. Just know that there are trigger warnings, so look that up beforehand if you feel the need to do so. Otherwise, if you just want to go into it completely blind and just go based off of what I said, then you can do that as well. But it does talk about very deep, dark books are not your thing and you want a happy-go-lucky book, this one's probably not going to be the one for you. But we already know, as you guys already know, I do love deep, dark, up, and depressing books. I just happen to really like that. If you like that, then this for sure I feel like would be a book that you maybe would enjoy. But yeah, I would recommend this one, personally. I rated this 5 stars. Yeah. Dude, I don't want to spoil any of this for anyone. I'm going to make you guys go into it completely blindly. I feel like if you read the back and you don't think it's for you, then you might not want to read it, so that's fine. But if you're kind of interested in reading it, I would say to pick it up. Even if you think that something might be a little bit triggering for you, obviously proceed with caution. Clearly, I'm not you, so like there are a lot of triggering things that are talked about in here, so if something's very triggering for you, then maybe don't read it. You can obviously decipher that for yourself. But I would say that a majority of the like triggering things are done in a very specific and matter-of-factly type of way. I don't even know how to describe what I'm trying to say. Other than that, like, it's not romanticizing the behavior. It's just matter-of-factly real as shit. Unfortunate for some people, right? I don't know. I just felt like this was just straight up, and I loved this, and it is definitely a staple book for me, and I want to read a lot of Otessa Moshfe's backlist now, solely because of this book, because I do think that she might be an author for me. So yeah, I really like this one. Also, shout out to whoever created this Spotify playlist for this book, because it is so good. Like, I literally saved it for myself, because I hardcore with that entire playlist. It's perfect to listen to while I was reading this book, but also just in general, that's my niche genre of music, so I really dabbled with that a lot, really hard. So yeah, I liked this one. Psychoanalyze me, if you will, but I know the people who get it, and the people who don't, maybe it's a good thing that you don't, but I don't know, this just felt very raw and real, and the ending, bro, I literally cannot with the ending. I cannot reiterate it multiple times. Full body chills, speechless. I don't even know what else to say, but 5 stars for sure. Loved this book, would entirely recommend this book. Yeah, I could relate to this book, so there you go. Another book that I want to talk about is Just Friends by Haley Pham. I read this via Kindle. I think it's an adult romance. It might be YA. I don't know. I feel like there's adult themes in here. It could be either or, but regardless, I did read it. I actually read this from March 28th to April 1st. This book is about our main characters, Blair and Declan, who are childhood best friends, and they had a falling out of some sorts. You don't know what happened, and you're trying to uncover that as the book is going on. They end up running into each other as adults, and therefore you're brought into a past and present timeline to figure out the complexities to their relationship. It's very similar to Love and Other Words, kind of, in a way. More so just because of the past and present timeline and the childhood friends to lovers type of vibe that's going on in here. I think that the setting, is it Carmel, California? That's like the actual location that Haley went to go write the book and that the book was inspired by, I think, or something like that. It's a cute little summer read. But for those who don't know who Haley is, she's been a YouTuber for a very long time. I feel like I don't need to introduce her, but I mean, whatever. I love her videos. I love her book content. And I think she's a very great person. I've never met her personally, but her online, I wanted to support her because I think it's amazing that she went out of her way to write a book. And that's a huge accomplishment for herself. You know, that's great. I wanted to read it and do an honest review about the entire book. Also knowing in my mind, hey, contemporary romances, I have a tendency to roast for the most part. Like, I like a few of them, but a majority, like, that's not really my niche that I like to read. So I already knew that. And I also knew that there was already controversial opinions about this book, and people were upset that she automatically was gifted a deal with the publishing industry and whatever. I don't know anything about the publishing industry. I've heard that it's very difficult for people to even make it on the #1 bestseller list or to be able to even get a deal with the publishing house. I'm gonna defend her and say that she literally got herself into that position. She made the platform by herself. She literally got herself into the position to be able to do so. So even if that was a factor, you cannot negate the fact that she literally did that for herself. It's not like she was handed that platform. She literally put herself on YouTube. She's been a YouTuber for years. Regardless, it is Haley's first book. So obviously, she's not going to be writing the East of Eden off the rip, right? Obviously. That being said, the first couple of chapters were definitely very confusing. I did not know what was going on. I was trying to understand her writing style and trying to understand what was going on because I really had no idea. I honestly think that has more to do with the editor versus Haley. Obviously, Haley's done some of the editing herself as well, but the publishing house should have known. They should have known that, you know, it shouldn't have been started that way. And also, there were a lot of grammar issues, which I am the grammar police. I cannot stand when there's grammar issues. And it's not just, oh, one or two. Like, no. There were a lot. There were a lot of grammar issues. Like, we aren't gonna beat around the bush and like say, oh, this was a pinpoint perfect book. No, there were a lot of grammar issues. It's definitely an editor's problem. It's more so on the publishing house and that editor specifically for not being upfront and honest with her, or saying like, hey, this is a run-on sentence, or hey, this needs a period here, or hey, you actually don't need to, there were just so many. Yeah, there were just so many. That being said, when you overlook that, the book itself is objectively good. I liked this book. I wanted to keep reading this book. I thought that the plot, she was killing it with, what did she say? Oh, she said something about like her being out of breath, I think on the verge of like an anxiety attack or something, where her breath felt like a laced bodice that was sewn too tightly or something. She said something like that. That was a fantastic quote. I loved that quote. She had really great quotes in here actually, and I really did enjoy this book. I think that people are rating it way too harshly. It is her first book and it literally wasn't even bad. Like, it was actually really good, and I'm being so genuine right now that I literally did not want to stop reading it. And whenever I would have to put it down, I was so excited for the next day after work to be able to sit down and read the book. Like, that's how you know that the book itself and the plot itself is actually pretty good. Like, and I don't even know Haley. Like, you know, I think people are grading her way too harshly, and I think people are honestly just projecting a lot of things onto her. I actually want to read more of her work because I think that she did a great job. It ended up being a 4.25. You guys, like, it was good. It was good. And I will stand on that hill, okay? Some of you guys need to chill the fuck out with your hate, because really it was not bad. It was not that bad. Like, I literally thought this was going to be a shit show based off of what everyone was saying, but it really wasn't that bad. It totally was because of the grammar issues. That's what the problem was, I think. Like, people are blowing it so out of proportion on the internet, and it's annoying me because I'm someone who's brutally honest with my reviews, and I think that as a first book for her to write, other than the grammar issues, it was a good book. So, y'all need to chill with the hate. That's all I gotta say about that. The next book that I read was I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a celebrity memoir, for those who don't know that. I read this via audiobook from April 5th to April 5th, so I read it in one day. For those who don't know who Jeanette McCurdy is, she is Sam from iCarly, okay? And this book took the world by storm years ago, and I never read it because of the title. I've already explained that on my channel before, but I didn't read it because the title spooked me a little bit, and I didn't want to manifest stuff into my life. However, I did end up reading her most recent release. What's it called? Half His Age, I think is what it's called. And I really liked that. So I was like, okay, maybe we'll just give it a whirl. Maybe her memoir actually is good and not just being hyped up on the internet for no reason, you know, like, we'll give it a whirl. Here's the thing, okay? I feel weird being so blunt about my opinions about this book because I just don't know if I should be commenting on it. I will say, from an outsider's perspective, I think that Jeanette wrote this when she was very much going through the stages of grief, and maybe some more time with therapy maybe would have helped her a little bit. I'm only saying that because she was blame shifting a lot. I want to say that respectfully because I don't want to be so rude and pretend like I'm a know-it-all, but like, obviously she clearly had a lot of pent up things, and yeah, some stuff for sure not cool, you know, definitely not cool and unfortunate for sure. Like, I'm not negating what she's gone through at all. That experience, you know, probably sucked for sure. And it shaped who you are. Unfortunately, like, we all have different experiences in life that some aren't so great. I can't say that. How do I say this without being rude? There was not really accountability for her continuing to do that behavior, if that makes sense. Like, I had the mentality of, okay, there comes a point in your life when you're kind of you're responsible for your behavior. You know, like, once you get to be a certain age, honestly, I couldn't even tell you when it like switches. I feel like it's when you're in your 20s. Some people have this realization later on in life. Some people never do at all, I suppose. But I feel like a majority of the population has this realization where it's like, okay, I can't be like victim blaming the entire like, I cannot be victim blaming the entire time time and being like, this is why I'm this way. This is why I'm that way. It's like, yeah, sure. Those are the foundations that made you who you are, but you can always change. I believe people can change. I believe people can learn from their experiences, and you have the autonomy to unlearn poor behavior that was modeled for you at some point. But that's just my opinion. There are people who do not think that way, and I know that. That's where we differ, and that's why I did not like this book, because I feel like there was a lot of victim blaming in here and not very much accountability wise. That could have totally been because she wrote it at a raw point in time when she was still grieving and she had anger built up, and it was her way of releasing that experience. So for that reason, we can applaud her because she definitely was real, you know. I also just didn't know that this was really going to be focused solely on EDs. No, not erectile dysfunctions, okay? I'm talking like EDs. I don't know how I didn't know that, because this book was very popular at one point in time, but I did not know that that was a majority of what this book was going to be about. Even if that was like a big factor in her life, I just didn't really agree with it. So that's why I ended up rating this a 3-star. Yeah, there's just a lot there to unpack. There's just a lot to unpack there. This is going to be a TV show or a film pretty soon, I'm pretty sure, with Jennifer Aniston, I believe, is going to be her mother in the movie or show or whatever. But I was more of a fan, this is such an unpopular opinion, but I was more of a fan of Half His Age rather than her memoir, in my opinion. So yeah, I gave this 3 stars. I wouldn't really recommend this to people, to be completely honest, especially if you are triggered by EDs. Do not read this book, okay? Because I didn't even know that that was a majority of what this book was about until I just nosedived into it. So if you didn't know that either, now you do. Do with that information with what you will and decipher for yourself if that's something that you can read about or not. I don't know how to psychoanalyze this for you guys. I just feel like there wasn't a resolution where there's resilience at the end of it. It's more so victim blaming and then what? You know, which could be, I guess, representative of you actually doing the work to unlearn that behavior, which is modeled in this book for sure. I think that I have to meet in the middle and just give it a 3-star because, yeah, I have to. So yeah, that's an unpopular opinion, but I just thought that I would mention it. Regardless, the fact that she wrote about her life and wrote a memoir, she should be applauded for, so there's that one. This one is The Darkest Temptation by Danielle Laurie. This is the 3rd book in the Maid series. I actually read the 2nd book as well. However, I liked the 3rd book. I honestly don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not. This one is definitely wild, okay? I genuinely thought about going back to therapy for enjoying this book, but I liked it. This is a dark romance for those who do not know. The first book in the series is The Sweetest Oblivion. This is the last and final book. There is a 4th book, supposedly, that's been pending for years now. We don't know if we're gonna get it or not. But yeah, in regards to this series, basically every single book is a different couple and a different point of view of like a different story. I don't know if that makes it an interconnected. Is that what an interconnected standalone is? I would recommend reading them in order. So I don't think that they're interconnected? Jesus, intergalactic. The fuck am I trying to say? I don't know if they're like interconnected standalones. I feel like you have to read them in order. Regardless, this one follows our main character Mila as she goes to Russia, which is her hometown, her birthplace, that she is forbidden to enter and to go explore because of her dad, who is a part of the mafia. But she wants to go because she wants to learn more about her background and of her mother and all these missing pieces of her life. So she goes to Russia and she ends up getting captured by a guy. And that's all that I'm gonna say. That's all that I'm gonna say. But I like this one. I think I rated this 4 stars. This one's my favorite in the series, honestly, I think. I have a soft spot for the first book because that was my very first like dark romance that I read with intention. So I have a soft spot for that, but this one is my favorite, I think, in the series. And yeah, I'm not going to elaborate, but I like this one. So I don't think that this is gonna be a book for everybody, but sure. I liked it. Do with that information with what you will. I'm not going to elaborate anymore. That's all you guys are gonna get, but yeah. Just know it's a dark romance series though, and this definitely is not gonna be a book for everybody. But I did read this from April 6th to April 13th, so it took me like a week to read it. for those who care. Next up, I have Sugar Baby by Celine St. Clair. This is a lit fic, and this was also my book club's April pick. I really like this one. Also, the cover, you guys. Stop it right now. I'm obsessed. I've been wanting to read this for years, and I finally was like, we are going to read this in April, whether you like it or not. And I'm glad that I finally did, because I did enjoy this. I think that this is definitely a book for a specific niche person, okay? I feel like I always say that, but that's because I wouldn't recommend this to everybody, even though I liked it. But yeah, I read this from April 19th to April 21st. This one's pretty self-explanatory because of the title, but our main character, her name is Agnes. I think she's 21. She comes from a very religious background, and she falls into the world of sugar babying, or sugaring is what they call it. I don't know if that's a common term, but that's what they call it in this book. The reason why I wanted to read this is because I thought that it was going to remind me of one of my favorite Netflix shows back in the day called Baby, and it definitely is very similar to that show. So if you liked that show, I feel like you would like this book, or vice versa. But I loved that show when I binge watched it back in 2020-ish, 2021, something like that. I don't know. There were a lot of things that were talked about in here relationship wise, and the different types of sugaring that you can do, which I thought was really interesting. I feel like that also added a little bit of variance to the stuff that was going on in here, instead of it being repetitive in a way, which I liked a lot. I will say there was a part in this book where it kind of made a switch to be more of a negative light, and it made me not really like the book as much because there was that turn there. However, the ending made up for it and brought it back to being a 4-star for me. It honestly might be, if I'm gonna be so realistic, it's probably more of a 3.75, but we're gonna round up and give it a 4-star because I did like this. I think that if this book would intrigue you, then you would know that it's intriguing to you, and therefore you should read it. But otherwise, if you're not interested in this book, then don't read it, because I don't think that this is a die-hard read for people, but I enjoyed it myself. It was a solid 4.5 star for a majority of it. I think that I more so just did not like the woman who was beefing with the main character, but also I can imagine that being, unfortunately, a reality, So yeah, I just feel like this is probably a very honest version of this experience, if you can relate to it or whatever. I don't know. I liked it. If you like these types of books, then you'll probably like it too. Sure. But I'm not going to sit here and recommend it to everybody, because that would just be silly of me. Also give it a props because of the cover. The last book, you guys might be shocked, because I think that I literally said in one of my videos that I wasn't going to read this author anymore. However, the tables have turned. I ended up reading Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This book, I think it came out last year, but this is a lit fic contemporary. Is it a romance? I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a romance. There's definitely that subplot to it. It's a romance. I was actually invested in the romance aspect of it, yeah. We have Alice and Hayden. They are both writers. They are also our main characters, if you couldn't guess that. They are both competing for the spot of ghostwriting, I suppose. This previously famous woman's autobiography or memoir or whatever. So they are both interviewing this woman. The woman is trying to decide who she wants to write her book. Just by the synopsis, I knew that this was probably going to be very similar to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and therefore I didn't really want to read the book. The only reason why I did is because I watched People We Meet on Vacation, the movie, and I thought that the movie was really well done, and it was funny as shit, and I was laughing, and it made me think of Emily Henry in a different way. Emily Henry, I feel like I've said this so many times on my channel, but she has always been a hit or a miss author for me. My favorite book still is Book Lovers. That might be an unpopular opinion as well, but I feel like this book, Great Big Beautiful Life, is Book Lovers meets Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you combine both of them, then you will get this book. For that reason, I enjoyed it because I liked both of those books, okay? That being said, because they are very similar, it did kind of lack originality in that way. I was giving it the benefit of the doubt, and then I think that as the book kept on progressing, I kind of just got a little bit annoyed. I'm like, we all know that that is a very popular book. There's no way that she doesn't know that, obviously. She probably took inspo from it. I think I ended up settling with a 3.5 star or 3.75 or something. Maybe I gave it a 4 star. I honestly don't remember. I'll put it on the screen, obviously, for you. I still enjoyed it, though. I would be sitting here and lying to you guys if I said that I didn't enjoy it still. I would recommend it, but just know it's going to be very similar. So maybe that might rub you the wrong way, or it might make you like the book because you liked the other two books. That's what it was for me, surprisingly, because normally I absolutely hate books that copycat, but I feel like because it was a mixture of one of Emily Henry's other books, it almost made it okay. I don't know. It wasn't entirely the exact same book. There were differences there, but the main like plot, if you will, definitely was very similar. So yeah, whatever. I still enjoyed it. I would still recommend it. Who knows? I might actually end up continuing to read Emily Henry as her books keep dropping. I don't even think that she's coming out with a book this year. I think that her next book might come out next year because she's in the middle of like filming a ton of different things for different book adaptations. So as of right now, I'm caught up on the Emily Henry train. Book Lovers is still my fave, but this one was really good as well. Yeah, that's the last book. 3 stars. All right, you guys, that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you liked this version a little bit more. If you happen to want my opinions of any of the books that I did not go over that I've read the past 2 years, hello, the past 2 months, let me know. I would be happy to review those books for you guys if I can remember some of them. But these are the books that I felt the need to talk about for whatever reason today. I know some of you guys might be like, girl, you didn't even talk about Throne of Glass. I know. You guys, listen. I did read Assassin's Blade and Heir of Fire. I'm currently reading Queen of Shadows. The entire like first half of the series is world building. I didn't care to deep dive into the series because I also didn't want to be repetitive and whatever, but just know that I am reading Throne of Glass, the entire series right now, and the entire Moss universe I'm trying to finish before Actar 6 and 7 come out. So just know that I'm doing that on the back burner as well. If you want to follow along, I'm currently on Queen of Shadows, but I'm gonna hold off on speaking about it until I actually have something worthy to say about it. So do with that information with what you will. Eventually, you guys will know my thoughts about the series. I just did not feel like talking about that today, so that's why I didn't. I'm not trying to rage bait you. That's just how I feel right now, so that's why I didn't include them. Don't come at me because I didn't include it. But as of right now, we're just gonna leave it there. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Au revoir. Mwah. Bye.